prospects in the heavyweight division. Lou Savarese, a guy who some people are talking about. We'll get it on with a guy by the name of Nathaniel Fitch. Savarese is big, he's savvy, if you'll pardon the phrase, and he thinks he's a comer.
Anticipation, that describes Lou Savarese as he slowly edges his way up the heavyweight ladder, and it describes boxing fans who wonder how good Lou will be when he faces a quality opponent. He's notched 25 wins against the likes of these guys. Max Key went down in 1 round. As the always busy Savarese put combinations together. This 27-year-old has a good offensive arsenal. He says he knows he can be good because he sparred with the likes of George Foreman and Evander Holyfield. But the guys he fights are named Fred Whitaker. He keeps beating them as he waits for bigger opportunities. Will Nathaniel Fitch change that scenario tonight?
Well, here's a look at Nathaniel Fitch, who, if looks win fights, has a chance here. It looks like he's in pretty good shape, rather fit, and has the face of a man who is all business. And before we get started here, Al, let's take a look at the rules here in the state of Pennsylvania.
We come here so seldom. 3 knockdown rules in effect. The standing 8 also in effect. The doctor can stop the bout. Winner gets 10, the loser 9 or less. 3 judges score. But saved by the bell in the last round. Looks suspiciously like the New Jersey rules.
Very much like them. Nathaniel Fitch and Lou Savarese, and let's meet him with Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Fernwood Resort and Country Club here in Bushkill Falls, Pennsylvania, where tonight Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, in association with Fisticuffs Production, along with the undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser, present professional boxing for your entertainment. All these bouts tonight are sanctioned by the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission. Let's get things started with a 10-round bout. This is in the heavyweight division. The referee for this contest is Joe Salsi. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks with red letters, weighing in at 226 1/2 pounds. He's from Spring Lake, North Carolina. His professional record, 10-4 with 6 KOs. Introducing Nathaniel Sweet Red Fitch. And his opponent across the ring, wearing the gold trunks and weighing 230 1/2 pounds, from Greenwood Lakes, New York. He's undefeated as a professional, 25-0, 1 draw, 21 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, Lou Savarese.
Gentlemen, you received your instructions in the dressing room. Now, when you shake hands, you come out, box at the bell, and go like the both of you.
So we are set to go. Here's a look at Nathaniel Fitch. Fitch with a professional record of 10-4. Got kind of a late start in boxing. He is a sergeant in the Army. We'll talk a little bit more about him. Lou Savarese, on the other hand, 25-0 with 21 knockouts. And he feels he is ready to make that next step up. But first, he's got to get by the man in front of him.
And in truth, Lou Savarese has not been in against guys that are that tough. And I'll tell you what, I assure you, Nathaniel Fitch is the toughest guy that he has faced so far. We saw Nathaniel some years ago when we were in Baton Rouge doing the Olympic Festival, and he won it. Fine amateur, had won over 170 amateur fights while boxing in the Army, and as you pointed out, is still in the Army, sergeant at Fort Bragg.
I'd salute him.
Me too. Delightful man, and he knows that, you know, he's got to make something happen pretty soon. He's 34 years of age. But he's a confident fighter. You know, he's not a top 10 guy, but he's confident. He has enough skills to be a true test for somebody like Lou Savarese.
Really kind of a similar story to Ray Mercer, actually.
Yeah, it is true. And he started in about 1988 at about the same age when Ray Mercer was started, about 27 or 28.
Comes off a loss in his only fight of 1993 against Levi Billups out of the Forum in Englewood. Went 10 with him, however. Billups is a guy with some experience.
Yeah, Billups is not a bad fighter, and they even felt that that fight was winnable. They didn't make any excuses, but he just said, I did not perform as well as I can in that one. actually both men told us at the weigh-in the same thing. They said, you know, when the other guy gets pressured and he goes backward, he tends to go into a shell. So I guess the question of who can make who go backward the first.
Neither one too willing to do that in his first round. Savarese a moment ago with a good body shot.
Fitch came out strong at the beginning. Now he's backing up a little bit more.
Fitch has not been knocked out in his 4 losses. He's lost decisions on all occasions. Good left hand by Savarese. Fitch covers up for the moment.
And there's an indication of what Savarese said about Fitch and what Fitch said about him. When they go into a shell when you push them backwards. That's what Fitch did there a moment ago.
So the first round, largely a feeling out round. Savarese perhaps a little bit the better of it. And a 1. We'll be back.
Yeah, he did, I think, the sharper work. And Jimmy Waldrop really urging Nathaniel Fitch in between rounds to be busy. You've got to go after him. This is not their part of the country. And Lou Savarese seen around here a lot more. And they feel like Fitch really has to make something happen.
They want him to work underneath also. Let's take a look at the numbers from the first 3 minutes. Savarese with a slight edge. Actually, more than a slight edge.
He came on in the second part of that round. Fitch using his head a little bit on the inside there. And I don't mean thinking. He wanted us to say hi to all the guys at Fort Bragg, where he is a sergeant. And so guess what? We just did it.
Yes, sir. Right hand, the left hand behind it by Savarese. Wild left hand by Fitch.
I think Nathaniel Fitch would do well to go back to the body where he can land a little bit better, and that will open up the head shots. Savarese was supposed to come into Las Vegas to fight Francis Botha, but Botha pulled out, and then Justin Fortune was in as the opponent, and he got a finger injury, allegedly, and didn't come to that fight in Vegas.
Savarese getting much the better of it inside now. What they wanted Fitch to do was push Savarese off him inside, and he's getting inside with him, but he's not pushing him off. That's a slip. Fitch, incidentally, has a habit of coming in head first, and that could be a problem.
Well, and it's been a problem so far for Savarese because he's been butting him a little bit.
And there he is again. You can see he just sort of ducks in with his head.
The body is definitely the place where Fitch, I think, wants to go in this bout. Savarese also, they want him to go downstairs to the body. Lou has been, there he is going downstairs. He's not been as active as he normally is in these early rounds.
But he does seem to be turning his punches pretty well.
Lou Savarese has pretty good offensive skills. Not a huge puncher, really, but, and again, so untested. You know, we just really don't know about him at this point. And they say it's pretty tough to get some of the people they want in the ring, but you know this much. He knows how to throw punches, knows how to box.
Well, we come to the end of the second round, and this is a round that Savarese will get more because of the little he did. Fitch not really doing very much at all.
Throwing punches after the bell.
Now Fitch yells at Savarese, "Come on, let's fight." Savarese tries to oblige him, but Fitch ties him up. Savarese,
oh, look at that, Savarese, and he's hitting low. Savarese just hit him or kneed him right low.
He kneed him, and he's still. Now that could be a DQ right
Well, I'll tell you what, they got to take a point away from Savarese.
I mean, that wasn't a low blow. He kneed him.
Yeah. Now, Fitch must get up, which is a bizarre rule. They got to give him some time here. Now, I don't know why Fitch doesn't get some time here.
He should. He definitely, clearly should.
I mean, he got kneed. Are you correct?
Yes, I'm absolutely
It looked that way to me. And Fitch mad. Well, it's turned into a brawl, literally.
They're both mad, actually, and I don't know who that's going to serve better.
Well, it'll serve Savarese better if the referee keeps protecting him like that.
Actually, I believe that almost should have been a DQ right there. I mean, it's one thing to hit a man low. It's another thing to knee him.
Now, Savarese, Jim Saucy, the referee, or Joe Saucy, excuse me, has got his hands full here, but, you know, he's got to give Nathaniel Fitch, when he gets kneed like that, he's got to give him a little time there. And Savarese does have one legitimate complaint, and that is that Fitch has used his head as a weapon. But still, I don't know if it could merit what Savarese ended up doing.
Right clean. That's it, Joe. That's it, Joe.
Meantime, Savarese getting the better of it when we get to real boxing.
Yeah, which it finally has gotten back to after some really heated words and heated action.
Another low blow when we go by Savarese. Well, that at least was a punch.
See, that's another one. I mean, these are, you know, this looks very deliberate. Let's see if Joe Saucy warns him. Yeah. I mean, I understand Savarese is mad, and I understand that he's distressed that Fitch is using his head. But nevertheless, there's an example.
Yeah. He complained about it in his corner, actually, and Savarese's trainer, Tommy Gallagher, just said, forget about his head.
Yeah.
He used a couple of expletives, too.
Now, if we can get back to pure boxing for a moment, if that's possible, Nathaniel Fitch has found one thing that works a little bit. That's a left hook, but he's not throwing it enough. He's doing a lot of grabbing and holding. As is Savarese. It's not artful, but it's been kind of interesting. And Savarese yanking his arm down. I'll tell you what, this is... Look, I think he just hurt Fitch's arm.
I think he did, too. I think Fitch either has a wrist or a shoulder problem.
There's a point being taken away from Lou Savarese. As well it should be.
Yeah, I think Savarese got off easy with just a point.
Calm down and throw short punches. The hook will hit him every time. Come on, baby. Okay. This guy's dead tired. Look at him. He's dead tired over there. Come on. Listen. Yeah.
I'm running this show. I ain't saying anything.
You didn't say that.
Okay, let's act like gentlemen.
Yeah, well.
Okay. I'll do my job.
Okay, Joe. Good enough. Well, don't worry about it.
Give me some more.
Give him some. Throw the hook on this.
The hook. They told Fitch to throw the hook. Now here's where Savarese tries to hit him low, and that didn't work. They're mad. They're talking to each other. Savarese is talking to him, laces him in the eyes and says, hey, how about this? You can't get more illegal than that. I'm sorry.
He need him.
He need him.
Directly
He laced
above
him.
me, and I can tell you.
And a point should have been taken away at that point.
If not a DQ.
Yes. And I understand you get mad, but you know what? You're not supposed to do that in boxing.
Well, here are the numbers, and Savarese did enough to win the round, but had a point taken away, so ostensibly, it's an even round.
And they're giving Nathaniel Fitch the right advice. Throw the hook. I mean, that punch is there for him if anything's going to be there.
Joe Saucy's really got his hands full in this fight. Fitch's hook is actually a bit of a lazy hook.
I mean, for Nathaniel Fitch, it's so obvious what he needs to. There's Savarese. Now, I made the last round a 9-9 round because Savarese won the round, but he had the point taken away.
I want you to put the help on. I watch it.
Now Savarese throws a warning for leaning on Savarese's head, pushing him down with his elbow.
The man who is most taken out of what he needs to do in this bout is Fitch. While Savarese has been frustrated by the crazy stuff that's gone on, he's still boxing. Fitch has stopped throwing punches. Finally, he threw a jab.
Stay clean.
Savarese with a combination, but neither punch would have got there. Both landed lightly in the back of the head. Pretty good uppercut.
Well, Lou Savarese, he's got his form back. There's no question about that. And he's starting to throw some pretty good combinations. And Fitch is a very frustrating guy to fight. He's leaning his head down. He is creating a lot of this. There's no question about that. I think Nathaniel needs to work on the punches that he thinks will get the job done for him. And I've seen him as an amateur. You know, he's got some skills. He's just getting into a shell when Savarese throws punches.
So we come to the end of the fourth round of a fight that really has been something of an adventure here in Fernwood Resort. We'll be back.
That in his corner throughout.
Good left hand by Savarese. They want straight punches from Savarese. They want hooks from Fitch.
There is the hook. Oh,
Right hand behind it. That drives Savarese back into the ropes and actually buckled his knees.
well, Nathaniel Fitch is getting there with those shots now, isn't he? Something happened to wake him up.
They're wild punches, but Savarese continues to just complain here.
He's mad about the head of Fitch, which is there, but I don't. I'll tell you what, right now, Lou Savarese, he's the one now who is distracted from what he needs to do.
It's not pretty, but it's interesting. Nice uppercut by Savarese, and now Finch covers up. Fitch, one of those awkward fighters. It's just hard to look good against a guy like this.
And they want Savarese to stand the outside. Now, Fitch had that great beginning to this round, and now he's kind of back into being in his own shell. Right there is where Fitch needs to throw that hook. Boy, I'm sure his cornermen are frustrated. They've told him over and over again. And if there is one punch that Lou Savarese is susceptible to, and if you're fighting him, you really want to throw, it is that left hook.
Triple jab and a right hand. That was a nice combination. Fitch covers up.
Lou Savarese believes very strongly that he says, I don't have doubts about whether I can fight with the good heavyweights because I've sparred with Foreman and Holyfield. Oh my, well, he's got some doubts right now, doesn't he?
Big doubts. He is in trouble, and Finch jumps right on him, and Savarese has a long way to go to survive this fifth round.
He got nailed and hurt.
He still is.
And he's saved by the fact that the mouthpiece came out.
Got a thumb in the eye, too.
Thumb in the eye to Fitch. Well, why wouldn't that happen at this point in this fight? Everything else dirty has happened.
That's the best thing that could happen to Savarese.
Yeah, really, it is. Mouthpiece gets thrown away, and that may be the saving grace. Hell, Lou Savarese has used other tactics in his bout. Well, he was rocked by Fitch.
He's cut over the right eye, too.
Well, the best round of the fight for Nathaniel Fitch. He had a good start to it, and then he hurt Savarese in this round. But Lou is getting himself composed. Nathaniel Fitch couldn't get the job done and get him down or out of there in this round.
And Fitch looks like a tired fighter as he goes back to his corner, and Savarese is going to have to gather himself as well.
You ain't doing shit.
Tommy Gallagher, a man with a way with words, don't you think?
You're not doing nothing. You're letting him dictate the bullshit. Jab right hand.
Tommy will punctuate things from time to time. But what he's trying to get across as we head into round 6 is that the reason he got nailed with these punches is because he wasn't doing anything offensively. And had Fitch been a little more accurate, he might have gotten the job done. Let's see if we can pick out where that thumb in the eye comes. This is Fitch hurting him, and the left hook's such a good weapon for him. There had a left hook been thrown instead of a jab. There's the hook. See, that punch can get in there. I think it wasn't a thumb. I think they clashed heads.
Second time.
Oh, yeah. There's the thumb, and I'll tell you, that's about as deliberate as you know, I got to say this for Lou Savarese. He knows all the tricks of the trade. Boy, he knows them. For a 27-year-old who doesn't have, he's got 25 fights, but he knows everything to do in there to survive, and that's one way.
I want to see what Fitch has left, because he really looked spent at the end of the last round. He's going to have to gather it up. Look at the 5th round. Now, again, Fitch clearly, in my mind, won that round, but didn't have the numbers edge.
No, not a huge edge, but he certainly had Savarese in some trouble. And I'll tell you what, it should be so obvious to Nathaniel Fitch by now. Just keep, there's the hook, there it is, that punch is there all the time. He's just got to keep throwing it. That's what his corner keeps telling him to do it. He's not by nature a left hook artist, but that's what's there. There it is again, every time.
There's the uppercut, and again, Savarese is in trouble.
Every time he throws the left in any variety or form, Nathaniel Fitch will probably land, especially with the right eye now kind of blown up by Savarese.
On your card, a 2-point fight for Savarese. Fitch still comes back.
And so far, Nathaniel Fitch, if he's got anything left here, he's working. He is working in this round.
Because he's still got Savarese. Savarese complains again.
Boy, can you see either of these guys going 10 rounds?
Fitch just looks like a spent fighter. Unless he's just playing positive.
They're both tired, but Fitch really looks tired at this point. Man, shot himself totally in this beginning of this 6th round.
I thought he shot himself at the end of the last round.
Yeah, but then he came out in this round and did have something. I know he's holding himself low. Maybe he thought he got hit low again by Savarese. You don't think Lou would hit him low, do you?
Oh, no.
Or thumb him, or knee him, or elbow him, or bite him, or kick him?
I think he'd thumb him low.
Lou is a delightful man. We have to point out he's entertaining, he's fun, but I don't know if I'd want to be in there having a meeting.
It's an ugly business.
That's the kind of activity they want from Savarese, but they want it more from outside. They don't want him laying on the inside with Fitch. And this is another round in which Savarese has come on and probably done what he needed to after Fitch was tough early.
I think Fitch is going to have to really dig down and find something that just does not appear to be there at all right now.
When he's on the inside there like that, all Nathaniel Fitch has to do is just crank up hooks, and some of them are going to land, I assure you. He's got anything left in him. He just doesn't want to throw that punch. Why, I have no idea. They keep telling him to throw it, and in the last couple rounds, when he throws it, he lands and he stuns Savarese with it.
Well, Fitch has got a long way to go, and he's really going to have to find something. The fight could be had, but it doesn't appear that he's able to do it.
Doesn't throw it enough, and Lou Savarese slips down.
With a little help from his friend. Right eye of Savarese not in great shape.
No, right hand gets there by Fitch. Now there's the hook by Fitch to the body, and one to the head then would have been the answer. They really want Lou Savarese to stay on the outside and jab and throws combinations. Now let's see if he can do that in these remaining rounds. And I think Savarese is ahead in this fight, but you never know. He was hurt. There you see the numbers.
Yeah, pretty good edge for Savarese, but Fitch has really done more damage than Savarese, but he's done it on fewer occasions.
Come on.
I've got Savarese head by 3 points in this bout, so in my mind he's there, but he's not out of the woods completely yet. And of course, when you consider he was hurt a round or so ago.
Come on, play.
Well, whenever a heavyweight like Lou Savarese is in the ring, of course, you mentioned Fitch is probably the toughest guy he's fought, and Nathaniel Fitch is not exactly a top 10 heavyweight. He's hurt him, and Lou's had trouble with him. So you have to be honest and say that you start to evaluate him, it makes you ask yourself questions.
Well, they were talking in Savarese's corner between rounds about multi-million-dollar fights upcoming. I'm sure it's just a motivating factor for Lou, but it seems like he has a way to go before he can really start to think seriously about that.
Well, he does, but, you know, he's 27 years old. We talked about that this morning, of course. He says he's patient enough, but he'd like to get in there against some better guys. And they claim, Bob Spagnola's manager said it's not so easy to get the fighters in the ring that they want in the ring with him. Well,
another low blow, and he hit him with a left hand after that.
Now let's see if Joe Salsi gives him some time there. Now he tells him to go. I'm sorry. How can you do that? You got to give the man time if it was a low blow. You get up to 5 minutes. That's absurd. I'm sorry. You have to give him some time to recuperate. It's boxing. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what referees are supposed to do.
I want to tell you guys to break. I want a quick break. You understand? All right, come on now.
Now you just bang their heads together.
Yeah, it's nice.
Crickets. I said Jiminy Crickets.
You did say that, yeah. I haven't heard that.
I haven't said that in 13 years on this show.
Well, the end of the 7th round, and once again, another bizarre round. We'll be back.
Because he wasn't given any time. Well, if that's not going to get Nathaniel Fitch mad enough to go after him, I don't know what will. And I'll tell you what, if I'm Nathaniel Fitch, I got to get the drift about now that I'm not going to get any breaks here, okay? So I'll tell you what, I throw caution to the wind. Referee Joe Salsi, he's giving lectures to him all. He can give lectures all night. Unless he enforces the rules properly, nothing's going to happen.
The eye of Savarese is not in great shape. It's looking pretty nasty. And again,
this is like a brawl now. This is really getting pretty ugly.
Fitch is grimacing in pain again. He had his back to me. I didn't see exactly what happened. I think he feels low blow again.
Well, if I'm Lou Savarese, I'm not going to stop doing anything. I'm going to thumb. Oh, he's complaining. I'm going to thumb. I'm going to elbow. I'm going to kick. I'm going to knee. I'll do whatever I want, I guess, because I can get away with it.
And another lecture.
Well, this isn't doing any good because he's got to take points away or do something to enforce the rule. You got 2 awkward heavyweights in there. Some of it's going to happen just by you know, in a natural way. It's been a very strange bout, as you pointed out.
At least.
Now, we're jumping on Joe Salsi here. Now, I'm trying to persecute the guy, but, oh, big right hand. And the left eye, which is swollen and now bleeding of Savarese. And now blood is really pouring down from that eye.
That's a pretty serious cut.
Now, that probably came from a clash of heads, but it wasn't called a clash of heads. So what will that mean now? If that has to be stopped because of that cut, will the fight be over and will Savarese lose it?
Certainly. Yeah, that's another question.
They didn't call it a butt at the time. Not that I was aware of.
They haven't called anything.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a full takedown. That cut is a very serious cut. Very serious cut. This is, in every respect, one of the ugliest fights I've seen in a long time.
It really is. I can't remember one on our air that has turned into more of a brawl than this.
Full Nelson by Fitch a moment ago.
Now, let's see if they have to stop this bout. Now, here comes the doctor to look at the cut.
He's fine, man. He's fine. Yes, go.
He's fine.
Tommy Gallagher.
It's easy for Tommy to say.
He's an objective source.
Yeah.
Well, and you would think they would give him a chance to work on it in between rounds. There's the hook by Fitch. Now, he could land hooks on that eye all night if he felt like throwing it still. I don't know who won this round because, it was so insane. I don't know about punching. There's the head of Fitch hitting Savarese. He might have 1 or 2 illegal things coming, huh? There, he's using his head like a battering ram. I haven't seen more illegal tactics in this bout. More by Savarese, but plenty by Fitch as well.
I don't give a fuck what he's doing.
Than anything.
He wants to quit. Make him quit.
Wow, that is a bad swelling, a bad cut.
And it was caused by a headbutt.
Clash of heads. Oh my, is it ever? That's where the blood really started to flow. But Joe Salsi does not call it. So if this bout were to be stopped because of that cut, Lou Savarese would lose.
So we start the 9th round of a fight that has had a little something for everybody. And nothing has been called in this fight. There was a knee, lacing, thumbs, headbutts.
There's the numbers. I don't even know if that tells any of the story.
And there's another head under the chin by Fitch, and again. And a thumb by Savarese into the eye of Fitch. And now Savarese looked like he tried to bite him.
Yeah, well, that's not, somebody ringside said they thought Fitch tried to bite him before, about 5 or 6 rounds ago. I wouldn't be surprised. I've got Savarese ahead 77, 74. It's almost academic or moot point, I should say, because, I mean, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
This fight does nothing to help either fighter. So, career-wise, this is like, if anything, it's a negative. It really is.
Yeah, very much a lateral move for Savarese, on top of which that eye is serious enough that I would have to think certainly it's going to take some stitches.
And let's put this in perspective. Savarese has had the better boxing skills in this match. Does have an edge in punches, though it's not huge. Some of this was caused by Fitch using his head early in the bout, but the overreaction of Savarese was pretty extensive, and the refereeing in this bout has been nothing short of atrocious.
There's a low blow by Savarese.
And I don't envy Joe Salsi his job. It's not been an easy match to referee, but he had to give Nathaniel Fitch time at several points when he was kneed, when he was hit low, never did give him time, didn't catch the butt, which created the cuts. There have been a lot of instances where he just has not been able to properly execute his duties.
Come on, you guys are like this. Come on.
It's a shame in a way because you hate to see a match that gets this difficult.
Yeah, this one really has been ugly.
Fitch himself has taken to using his head now to work on that cut, which is not appropriate. You know, the funny thing about this, both these guys are good guys. You can sit and talk to them all day. You'd enjoy yourself. You'd have a great time with them. And you look in here, and, you know, it doesn't look that way, does it? They haven't stuck to the rules. They've been, you know, not even showing the skills they have, really.
Terrible.
This is one of those fights when they shake hands after the fight, somebody's going to have a buzzer.
Good thing they don't have lapels.
That's right. Or whoopee cushions. We'll be back. Through 9 rounds, and in this case, this is a fight where the numbers are not as indicative of what the fight. There is a that's a body slam.
Well, he was mad because Savarese was on top of his head. And he said, I'm going to throw you off one way or the other. The eye of Savarese is a mess. And I'll tell you, Fitch is either hurt or playing possum. I think he was playing possum. Fitch, and you know, that didn't help Fitch any. You know why? Because he had hurt Savarese. I think he stunned Savarese at the beginning of this round. You want to know something? For all the great fights we have on this network and great fights that you see, this will make the 10 o'clock news around the United States, all the crazy stuff that happens.
Absolutely.
As opposed to some night when we often do some great fight. Just because all the wacky stuff.
Still to come, of course. The guy who really is a classy fighter, James Toney.
And Ricky Thomas, I assure you will be more artful than this, I swear.
And now Joe Sarsi takes a point away, and he's only doing that because the commission yelled at him to take a point.
Who is he taking from? I didn't see.
I'm not sure.
I don't know, at least from Fitch for using his head. Well, I mean, I don't know if it was blatant at that point. I guess it's a combination of things.
They took the point away from Fitch. It had nothing to do with Sarsi. The commissioner was up yelling at him to take that point away.
I guess maybe that's, I don't know what that, I guess it's to even things up or something. I don't know. It's true that Nathaniel Fitch has used his head a lot in this bout. I would have taken the point, I would have probably done the point much earlier. Much earlier. But then I would have taken at least 2 or 3 points away for low blows from Savarese. And I think kneeing a guy might merit that.
Yeah, although that's one that you can almost make an excuse for the referee not seeing because you're looking at hands and it happened.
Nice. Come on, enough. Couple seconds.
Well, this is one that, truthfully, in all candor, you just want to see him.
There's another headbutt and another low blow.
Neither man has ended up distinguishing himself from this.
No, this is ugly.
And it's just not been a great effort by either guy. And it could have been a little better. Neither man is as bad as they've looked here tonight. They can't exactly muster a handshake or a hug, but they can at least show enough to just tap each other, and I guess that's something.
There's the Deputy Commissioner, Greg Serb, and you see Fitch's...
Jimmy Waldrop is over there complaining to him about the point being taken away, feeling that the referee was coerced into doing that.
He was.
Yeah, well, which was probably why he was over there doing that. And, you know, we're sitting here, and it's very easy for us to be critical. I understand that. But you know what? If you follow the rules and you try and fundamentally follow the rules you have, you'll come off looking better in situations like this. And I think that the referee had a hard time doing that, had a hard time keeping the fighters to the rules. And I think he'd been a little more careful about the way he applied the rules. It would have looked better.
I think fortunately, the point being taken away or the points not being taken away are not going to have a great outcome to this fight. But a reminder that coming up on ESPN, the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we have got it, virtually all of it. Starts April 20th, up to 37 games. This is the place for the NHL. Back where it belongs, and of course, we get underway with the Penguins and the Devils. That starts on April 20th. Boy, is there a better hockey team than the Penguins? Are they great?
And what Mario Lemieux has done, somebody called it the miracle on ice, coming back from his illness and playing the way he's played. He's played the best hockey of his life.
They're a treat to watch. I got to say, I'm not a great hockey fan, and yet I love watching them play. They're an art form in and of themselves. What we saw here, nothing like an art form, however. As the scorecards are being tallied now, and what I started to say before, I don't believe if our scoring is anywhere near accurate, which it only sometimes is, that the points being taken away or not being taken away are going to have any effect on the outcome of the fight. All right, let's find out. Here's Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. Jackie Castellani scores about 95-94. Bill Flasser has it 96-93. And Bill Nealon scores it 96-93 for the winner by unanimous decision, Lou Savarese.
Surprising. I thought Savarese won, the crowd booing, but they're booing him probably for some of his tactics more than anything else.
Well, it's certainly one that Lou Savarese and his people are not going to want to put in a time capsule. I think rather they're just going to want to put it behind them. But a win is a win, and Savarese remains undefeated. We'll be back.